developing a system for choosing the president was one of the problems that the delegates really tore their hair out over. They, for most of the summer, had approved a system whereby Congress would choose the president. But they were worried about that. First, they were worried that the president then would become the creature of Congress. He wouldn't really have independence. They were also worried, if you can imagine it, that Congress could be bribed, that there could be corruption could creep into the system that way. And they entertained some very wacky ideas by our lights. Ben Franklin thought we ought to have 3 presidents. There was a proposal that you would simply take all the congressmen and have them draw lots, and 15 of them would be hustled into a room and you'd lock the door and they would pick the president, but nobody would have a chance to bribe them. And finally, James Wilson came up with this elector system, which was in concept, and we would have each state choose the wise people in its state, and those people would get together and choose the president. It turned out to be a terrible idea because it didn't anticipate political parties. And the party arrangements made it non-functional. After Washington was president, our 3rd and 4th elections were perverse in their outcomes. So we adopted the 12th Amendment to change how we chose the president. We still use an elector system, but we now choose the president and vice president separately. It still produces presidents who do not command a majority of the vote. We've done that 3 times in our history, most recently with George W. Bush, but before then with Benjamin Harrison, before then with Rutherford B. Hayes. So it's not an ideal system, but it was the best they could come up with. I should also say the one thing that, although James Madison endorsed it, the one idea that had no traction at the convention was to let the people choose. George Mason of Virginia famously said, that makes as much sense as having a blind man pick colors. They don't know what they're doing. And it gives you a flavor for how non-democratic many of the delegates were in their attitudes.